big baby. Oh, you missed. You missed everything? Yes. Oh, the baby was wondering what the truck. And then Angela trapped the baby. Oh, the baby's hanging on to mom now.
That way I'm not by the end. I know. My big group to compare with. I am married to one woman and we do not have children. We've been together for 16 years. Alright everybody, there's also a camera, just make sure you're not blocking their shot to record, thank you. We gotta just make sure we're courteous to other zoo guests. But if you come down towards this side, the gorillas are off on the right, including the baby. Please let those of us who are a little bit shorter in the front so that they can see.
Alrighty, can everybody hear me pretty good? Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me?
Oh wow, what perfect timing.
Perfect timing, alrighty, so they kind of keep to themselves. So sometimes you'll be able to see them like today, and then there's other times where they're just going to be kind of hiding throughout their enclosure. So this lovely big guy up in the front, not the squirrel, the one behind him, that's actually going to be our silverback Kelly. So Kelly's going to be 39, I believe, right now. So he's going to be the only silverback on this side of the enclosure. So he's going to be the only male from this family troop. So you might notice that his legs do have that silver kind of color. So if he decides to move, you'll see that that fur kind of falls up his back. So again, it's only going to be the males that have that silver colored fur. And they're going to get it once they reach maturity around like 13-ish years old. And then on that far back right-hand side, you'll see that we have 3 of our other gorillas. So the one kind of closest to us, even though she may look a little bit bigger, she is going to be one of the youngsters. So she's not our newest baby, our newest addition. They do not have a name so far. If they did, you know, I would have brought it up. But they don't. They're going to be around 7 months right now. So right now they're at that milestone where they're kind of trying to explore a little bit, trying to see just how far they could get. You know, to grab things, stuff like that. But they're also in the age right now where they're starting to experiment a little bit with, you know, more solid foods, stuff like that. So you might be seeing him kind of going around, playing, things like that. One thing that is pretty cool is that Angela does have a pretty good bond with her little brother. Sometimes it's a little bit too good of a bond. So you might see that sometimes their parents kind of grab the baby boy a little bit just because they might notice that Angela's maybe playing a little bit too rough, a little bit too energetically, so they'll kind of give them a break and then they'll let them play again. It seems like right now they're both kind of enjoying the time together, kind of just being relaxing. But usually you'll see them in the shady spots, just like us, you know, even though they are native Angelinos, they were born and raised here. They don't like the heat too much. They also don't really like the rain. So just like us, how we're trying to find shady spots, cool areas, they're going to be doing the exact same thing. That's when you'll see them in those shady spots. You might notice that there's going to be food kind of scattered throughout. So with gorillas, they're only going to eat vegetation. Occasionally, they might get some like insects every now and then. But majority of their diet is going to be just vegetation. So even though they are super big and super strong, the reason why they have all those muscles and thick bones is just because of their digestive system. So with us, you know, we're going to have the small intestine and the large intestine. With gorillas, they have the same type of intestines. It's just that theirs are a lot longer. It's also why you might kind of see Kelly from that side profile, how he has a stomach that protrudes a little bit. So the reason why it protrudes is because his intestines are a lot longer, so they need more space. There you go. You might see it kind of hanging down a little bit. So with that intestines, as they eat all that vegetation, their intestines kind of squeeze all that good stuff, all the nutrients, all that water out, and then it takes everything. So if we were to eat a salad, we're not going to really get too much out of it. We might just get some like water. If gorillas eat a salad, they're going to get everything out of it. Their bodies are going to be able to squeeze all that goodness. It's also why you don't really see gorillas drinking water too often as well, because they get most of the water that they need from the plants that they're eating. And then since we have the squirrels that are just here, I'll talk a little bit about them. And I know it's a gorilla talk, but I'll still mention the squirrels a little bit. So we did not put the squirrels there. The squirrels just happened to find this spot home. It's almost like a weird college roommate situation where like they know that the other one's there, but they're not really interacting. So you'll see that the squirrels are aware of the gorillas are aware of the squirrels, but the most interaction they might have is just with youngsters, so with Angela and the baby boy. So with Angela, I know when she was younger, she would chase the squirrels a lot. It was like her version of tag. The squirrels obviously didn't know that they were playing tag with her, so they would kind of just see this giant fur ball kind of chasing after them, and then they'd run away. We'll see if the baby boy kind of ends up doing that same thing with the squirrels. But again, it's a pretty mutual understanding between them. So the gorillas kind of, if let's say they see the squirrels are eating a specific snack that they want, they'll kind of just like shoo them away a little bit. And then if the squirrels see that the gorillas are eating a snack that looks pretty good, they'll test the waters and see if they can grab a piece. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. Besides this group though, we also have what we call our bachelor troop. So again, this is the family troop. It's going to consist of the 2 adult females, our young female offspring, our young boy offspring, and then Kelly the male. With the bachelor group though, that one's going to consist of only silverback males. So we're going to have 3 silverbacks. Their ages are going to be like 20s, 30s, and then we have a teenager. So I believe he's going to be around 17-ish right now. I could be wrong. So with them, we have them together because one, they don't have their females to kind of be part of their family troop. So they're just, again, the bachelor troop. But the reason why we kind of have those 3 together and not with the family troop is because if we were to put them together and if they were to interact, Kelly and the family would be pretty stressed out. So in the wild, the way it is that you have that one silverback, that one person, that one gorilla that's the head of the troop. You're going to have all the females, all the offspring. Occasionally you might have some males if they're not as dominant as the kind of head of the group. Then they might be allowed to kind of stay. But again, as those males get older, they're going to kind of be pushed out of the group. So that's with the bachelor troop, because there's no females, they're able to get along. They're able to get along a little bit better than if they were to be put into this family group with Kelly. So as you kind of make your way up, you'll see that there's going to be a pathway and there's going to be a glass viewing point. That one is going to lead to the bachelor group. Sometimes, though, you might see that there's a little bit more movement with them. Usually with a family troop, they're going to be a little bit more calm, collected. With the bachelor troop, though, because it's all boys and one of them's a teenager, he's kind of going through that phase right now where he's trying to see just how far he can push the buttons of his brothers. So sometimes you'll see that there's signage that says player disagreement. That's because they're either going to be playing just to like mess around, but then sometimes it could take a little bit of a turn and they end up in physical altercation. But that's kind of normal. To us, it might just be like, oh man, like these big animals are beating at their chests type of thing. But in gorilla world, that's completely normal. That's just how they're showing their dominance to one another. It's just kind of how they're finding their spot in rank. So right now with the bachelor troop, the youngest one is still at the bottom of the barrel. And then our middle brother, Jabari, is going to be the second one. And then our oldest, Hassani, is going to be the one that is more dominant out of that group on that side. So just if we were to put, let's say hypothetically, Kelly with them, Kelly would be all the way at the top. Kelly is also going to be one of our bigger males. So kind of looking at him, he's doing a little pose for us. So he looks big, right? He's actually going to be the biggest silverback that we currently have out of all 4. So he's going to weigh around 300-ish pounds, closer to 400. So he's going to weigh like 390 something. So he's actually the one that weighs the most. The second one, the runner-up, is actually going to be the youngest one, the teenager. He's starting to get a little bit close and kind of his weight's starting to creep up a little bit. So maybe to us we're thinking, oh wow, like 300, 400 pounds is pretty big for a gorilla. But this specific species, the Western lowland gorillas, are actually one of the smaller species in the world. So the ones that weigh the most are probably going to be the Eastern lowland gorillas. Those can weigh up to like 400, 500 pounds, which is pretty incredible. Seems like Angela's just being a little curious about something. Usually you'll see her kind of grab branches and see what she can reach, and then she'll kind of just inspect it a little bit. Just like kids, you know, she's going to be pretty curious about what she's seeing. And eventually our baby boy is going to be doing the same thing. But it seems like they're kind of just relaxing right now, so we'll see. We also have another adult female. Her name is going to be Rapunzel. She's going to be, I believe, 42 right now, 42 this year. With her, usually people tend to see her by herself, and that's just because she's a little bit more introverted. So just like people, how you can have the extroverts and the introverts, you have the people that are really social, really outgoing, and then you have the people that tend to keep to themselves and like to maybe stay home a little bit more. It's the same thing with the gorillas. They're each going to have their individual personalities. So with Rapunzel specifically, she is more of an introvert. She does tend to stay to herself a lot more than the other gorillas do. So sometimes you might see her just kind of sitting by herself with her back along the wall. So sometimes people are like, oh, like, is she okay? Like, is the group kind of pushing her out? No, the group is really good with each other. They're really good at socializing. It's just she's making that choice to kind of stay on her own. Sometimes you will see, though, that Angela does come and kind of messes around with Rapunzel, because Rapunzel does take on that aunt figure for Angela and our baby boy. So sometimes you'll see Angela just kind of goes and messes with Rapunzel, but then sometimes you will also see that Kelly gets a little bit jealous. Kelly will sometimes get jealous of Rapunzel when she plays with Angela, and there has been moments where he goes and he kind of tries to like push away Rapunzel from Angela, and then he takes over and he's kind of doing his thing with her. They're playing around, and then once he's had his fill of his energetic daughter, then he'll allow Rapunzel to kind of come back and play with her a little bit more. One thing that is pretty funny with Angela, and we'll probably see it with the boy as well, is that sometimes, you know, just like us as parents, sometimes the adults get a little bit tired. So when Angela's in her super energetic phase, sometimes you'll see that, again, let's say she'll go to Rapunzel, Rapunzel does the thing. If she can't tire Angela out, she'll just like pass her off to another adult gorilla. They'll do their thing, they'll try to tire her out, and if that doesn't work, then they'll send her to the big guy, Kelly. He'll try to tire her out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It kind of just depends on how Angela's feeling. If they're able to tire her out, then you'll see her kind of just relaxing. Usually she's on her back, like belly up. And if it doesn't work, then you'll see them kind of just all laying down, all tuckered out, while Angela's running around doing her cartwheels and things like that. Just to talk a little bit more about the baby though. So again, going back to the age, our baby boy is going to be around 7 months right now. So with gorillas, they're going to be similar to us in terms of gestation period. So with people, they're going to have that gestation period of 9 months. Gorillas typically only last 8. So with that 8-month period, it's going to be a little bit more of a quick development. And they're going to be born the same way. You know, everything's typically normal. One thing that was pretty interesting with this boy specifically, though, is that when Ngia gave birth to him, she was very, very protective. So it actually took a couple weeks for the keepers and the veterinary staff to actually figure out what the gender of the baby was, because she was just so protective and would hold them so close to her that no one was able to actually see the parts that were on this baby. So again, it took them a couple weeks before they were able to figure out, like, oh, it's actually a boy. But yeah, after that, she was able to get a little bit more comfortable. She was starting to kind of be a little bit more forthcoming with Kelly, allowing him to get a little bit closer, things like that. Just to kind of talk about their family dynamic. So they're always going to be together, right? Their family's always going to be together. And with that, sometimes our females get a little bit tired of Kelly, just because he has a big personality, besides just being big in general. So again, sometimes our females will get a little bit tired of Kelly, maybe they're not really wanting to deal with him. So in the back bedrooms, which is going to be behind the wall, all the way in the back, they have their bedrooms, and then they have what we call a girls' room. So in that girls' room, the doors open just big and the doors open just wide enough for the females to get in, and not the males. So you might notice like Kelly in the front compared to the adult female all the way in the back, there's going to be a pretty decent size difference. So again, the females are going to be able to crawl into that girls' room, but Kelly cannot. Sometimes he might just like swing his hands trying to reach. He will not make it in. His shoulders are too broad. He's just too big. And then once the girls that are in the girls' room, you know, have their relaxing moment and they're ready to interact with Kelly again, that's when they'll come out of the girls' room and they can interact with Kelly. Besides that, we also have an area that's full of like fire hoses and tire swings. That one's just for them to kind of play with, interact.
Yeah, I just saw that. Do you think I should go in the basement?
Backwards. I remember over here. Okay.
Thank you.